testing. So I really love muscle testing because it helps you to tap into what your subconscious programs are running in the background that you might not be aware of. Now, a really good way to identify when something's off is when you know something, but you don't really feel it. For example, you know you should be able to do something, but you don't feel like it's possible. Or the life that you're living doesn't reflect the truth that it is possible, as in you're not really living that reality. So muscle testing is a really great way for you to kind of bypass your conscious mind and really tap into what's actually going on in your subconscious field. Now, before you start muscle testing, it's actually a very good idea to ground, clear, and hydrate yourself. These will affect your muscle testing. As well, any trauma, shock, cellular trauma, or frozen energy that you have around an experience or a belief, or if you are stuck in a past experience around something, you won't muscle test properly. So it's not a pure science, but it is a really good starting point. And even when these different blocks come up, if you utilize this on a regular basis, you'll notice that even though your muscle testing is giving you a yes, for example, you feel like it's a little bit off or something. You'll be able to start to be good at picking up on those subtleties where you'll be like, I'm getting a yes, but and as soon as you hear yourself say that but, you want to kind of put that on your radar because it means there's something below the surface or something similar that's associated to whatever that you're testing. Maybe you're just not getting the wording exactly right. Our subconscious can be a little tricky and a little picky sometimes about how it words things. So if you're off a little bit in how you're actually saying the affirmation, you'll get kind of a maybe answer. And so you can kind of play around with it a little bit, change the wording, change it to something similar. So then that way you can kind of hone in on where the actual issues are. And do bring those to the group and to the table so that we can clear them as you move through. But this is a really great tool for you to utilize to help you really discover what your true truth is. Now, as I mentioned, it is good to start off with the grounding, clearing, and a hydration. And there's also a type of energetic reboot that you can do. And as you can see in this short little clip, what you're going to do is you're actually going to put your hand on top of your head. And then you're actually going to flip it over so that your palm is facing up. And then you're going to flip it over again so that your palm is facing down again. And then you're just going to put your hand down and then you can begin. Now, this is actually a really great technique for you to do at any time. What it does is it actually reboots your field. So if you have anything that's kind of leading you to be a little bit off, this is a really great way of doing it. Now, the first example that we have in the muscle testing is the body sway. So what you'll be doing is you're going to stand up tall, comfortable, and completely in the center of your own gravity or your center. And then you're going to close your eyes, and of course, without falling over, what you're going to do is you're going to use something that you know the answer to. Like, for example, I like to use, like, my name is Nick. So I'll just say that out loud, and then I'll notice my body wanting to pull me in a certain direction. A positive response should be a lean forward, and a negative response should be a lean backwards. So as you can see in this short clip, um, you stand in the center. You'll state a positive affirmation, as in my name is, and whatever your name is, and then notice how your body wants to pull you. And some people will just have a really soft pull, and some people will actually feel a little bit of a stronger tug. Just notice those subtleties. And then you're going to follow up with a negative affirmation. For example, my name is Tony. So you pick a name that's not yours, that you know, or you can even say, "Show me a yes," "Show me a no," and then that way your body will show you how it wants to lean in a yes position and where it wants to lean in a no position. Now, again, if you're leaning sideways or you're leaning opposite to front and back, for positive is front, negative is back, then you want to check that you're grounded, that you're clear, and that you're probably hydrated, and go ahead and do your reboot again. And sometimes what will happen is, if whatever your intention is to ask is not the appropriate time for you to have an answer, if you're really having a hard time getting appropriate testing, just walk away from it and try it again some other time. Now, another type of muscle testing that we have an example is actually doing it with another person. And so, what you do, as you can see in this clip, is you would extend your dominant arm. So, for most people, that's your right arm, and then you extend it out parallel to the ground so that it's at a 90-degree angle. And then you hold it as strong as you can, and the other person is going to push down and kind of get a feeling for what your strength is. So when you'll say something, positive affirmation like "my name is" or "show me a yes." Some people will even just say "yes, yes, yes," "no, no, no." And so, as you can see in this video, when I push down on Terry's arm, it's nice and strong. And then when he says no, it's weak. He'll actually kind of collapse. Now, most people might not have, that was more for visual purposes. So instead of fighting and bringing it back up, we just allowed it to go down. So some people will just have maybe a 1 foot difference between where they're at 90 degrees. And it'll actually be, you'll see them struggling to keep it to that 90 degrees a lot more than when they're in a positive response. Now, another way of doing muscle testing, and you might have seen this one, is to make a circle with your thumb and index, and then you'll insert the fingers of your other hand. So use your dominant hand to make the circle, and then your non-dominant hand to insert your index and middle finger through that loop, and you're going to hold tight. And then you're going to say a positive affirmation, something that is true. Show me a yes. And then you're going to try to open those two fingers by kind of opening up the scissors of your fingers from your non-dominant hand, so to speak. And now what you want to do is, when you're doing this particular one, you'll notice in the video that you want to do knuckle to knuckle. So what I mean by that is, the first knuckle in the hand that's a circle, and the first knuckle of the fingers that are inserted in the circle are kind of lined up with each other. If you go in too deep or not deep enough, you'll notice that just because of the leverage, it'll be a little bit more difficult. So for people that have longer fingers, just remember to put your knuckle to knuckle, as you can see in this video. Now, sometimes this one, people are very strong, and this one doesn't work very well. So an alternative is actually to do your pinky with your thumb. This is one that I'll use every once in a while, especially when people are a little bit stressed out or emotional. This one is a lot harder to, it's a lot less subtle, because the pinky is so much weaker. So you would do the exact same thing. You would use your pinky and your index, excuse me, you would do the exact same thing, and you would use your pinky and your thumb, and then you want to also have the knuckle to knuckle happening here. And then you're going to do show me a yes, or my name is, and then you're going to show me a no, or my name is something that's untrue, and test in that manner. And that one there is a little bit, that one there is a little bit less subtle. So if you've got some, you're getting an answer that feels a little bit off, you can try the pinky one and see how that works for you. So I hope that you can use this tool. I am a big proponent of it. It's helped me to really gain a lot of clarity. And what I like about doing this is, it really helps you to connect on a deeper level with what your subconscious and internal truth is. So as you practice this and as you witness what your truth is and where your challenges are on a subconscious level, then what you're actually doing through this muscle testing exercise, when you practice it often, is you're creating a bridge or a gateway for your conscious and subconscious mind to communicate with each other. So what you're doing is you're opening up that channel. And so it'll actually get to a point where you'll say something out loud and you'll really feel your no. You'll say something out loud and you'll really feel your yes. So this is actually great in social circumstances where someone's like, "Hey, do you want to blah blah blah?" And you say yes, and then you hear yourself saying yes out of obligation. And so that's actually a really great a practice when you practice it with the muscle testing. Then, when it comes to your real life experiences and you're finding yourself saying no out of fear or yes out of obligation, then you have the opportunity to make a different choice in that moment because you become aware of your subconscious program being triggered and awakened by that experience, and then you can choose to do something different. And so that's why I really love for people to continue to use muscle testing. I use it every day, and it really helps me to get to the seed of what is going on for me internally. Sometimes we have blinders when it comes to our own stuff, and I find that muscle testing in a lot of instances can really bring a lot more clarity where we may be stuck. So I invite you to try this technique and go ahead and send any questions that you might have around it. Thanks for listening and have a great day.